It's been a wild ride getting to this moment. A journey, a decade in the making, if you want to say that it started with Man of Steel. Should I retake that or keep that in? I think I'll keep it in. Is this a triumphant finale to this epic saga, the DCEU? Or has it ended on a whimpering fart? What do you think? Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the finale to the DCEU. Now, in this movie's defense, it's not like James Wan knew that this was going to be the finale. I mean, if you don't know the whole story, Warner Brothers, or Discovery actually, bought Warner Brothers, and the CEO there was like, okay, we're going to get a new guy to come in and fix this DC thing. So he brought on James Gunn, director of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and James Gunn decided that he wanted to just start from scratch and create a fresh new universe. So the old fucking Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller bullshit is just kind of being swept aside, and they're gonna start fresh with a new DC universe. So unfortunately for this movie, it is sort of being looked at as the finale of this epic saga, the DCEU, and it doesn't really feel like it. Honestly, I feel like this movie is about on par with the original. Now, bear in mind, I also didn't like the original Aquaman. But obviously, some of you guys did, or a lot of you did, because it made $1 billion. So this is for somebody. And if you like the first Aquaman, I mean, I do think you'll like this. As far as why I personally don't like it, it is just too silly for me. James Wan just has this kind of like almost prequel, like Star Wars prequel-esque tone to his universe, where like it's just a lot of bad CGI underwater effects, a bunch of weird like fish politicians with like politics that none of us care about. As far as Aquaman himself, they really try and hammer home his relationship with his family and how much he loves his son, and I kind of just don't care about any of that. And then there's also Aquaman having to be like the king of Atlantis, and they just don't really do a good job of making that feel like impactful or anything. Like I don't really feel like Jason Momoa's performance that he's like carrying the weight of a kingdom on his shoulders. Like his performance is just never as dramatic as I feel like the situation calls for. And then you have the villain in the movie. Black Mana's back, and he has like superpowers now. Because is this a spoiler? I have no. I don't even think I watched any of the trailers for this movie, so I have no idea if they said this in the trailers. I also don't think you should care, quite frankly. But he gets like possessed by the ghost of an ancient conqueror in the ocean, who like tried to conquer Atlantis like 1,000 years ago or something. So you kind of have like parallel motivations between the two characters, where Black Manta wants to get revenge on Aquaman because he killed his daddy, and then the ancient conqueror ghost wants to get revenge on Atlantis because he lost a war with them one time. It sucks. It's boring. Some of the action can be fun sometimes. Like, a lot of it is just CGI nonsense that, again, reminded me of the Star Wars prequels, and I just don't really care about any of that. But there are also other moments where it's kind of fun, you know? Like, Patrick Wilson, like, touching water and then suddenly getting jacked and beating up the bad guys. Like, that was fun. There are some moments where they're, like, fighting with tridents and the choreography is decent, and I'm like, okay, this is fun. And speaking of P. Willie, you gotta give him credit, because I've never seen P. Willie phone in a performance. Even when he's in, like, a shitty Conjuring movie or in a shitty DCEU movie, he's always giving it his all, and he has some fun chemistry with Jason Momoa. Like, there is a point in this movie when it kind of switches from the main plot to just dealing with Jason Momoa and P. Willie as, like, brothers. And that stuff is actually pretty fun. I think they have pretty fun chemistry. I think that they should have got into that way sooner in the movie. And I think that that actually might have salvaged this thing. But as it stands, there is unfortunately not enough of it. And then it just gets hampered by a bunch of the other elements of the movie that just are not as interesting. But I will say it does have that. So at the end of the day, is this satisfying as the conclusion to the DCEU. Absolutely not. Nothing about this movie feels like a conclusion. You know, none of the other superheroes come in. There's no like final goodbye to everybody. But again, in its defense, this movie didn't know that it should have done any of that. And as it stands on its own as a movie, not particularly good. If you like the first Aquaman, I think you'll find some enjoyment here. But yeah, have you seen Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom? I don't think many of you will. Just judging by the early box office trackings. But if you did, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. And if you like this video, hit that like button. Do a little something for me, you know? Well, listen, I'm over here trying to make it on these YouTube streets. Click on that like button and help me out or something. I don't know. Listen, I don't know if you can tell, but I am getting kind of sick. So I am kind of losing it mentally here, but that's it for the DCEU. Oh, obviously I should say as well, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned, because I do plan on doing a big DCEU retrospective at some point, where I'll go through every single movie in the DCEU and try and pinpoint exactly where it went wrong, because I would argue that there is a very specific moment where it went wrong. Yeah, and then I also plan on making a video about the upcoming DCU, as far as whether or not I think that'll work out. So yeah, stay tuned, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.